Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's the math version, but it does guide them through. It's the whole idea is it's all mind connections to math. They don't do any paper pencil when they're doing this. This is all visual. When they're doing long subtraction with big numbers, it'll use flowers. Like a group of flowers is, a group of 10 is one flower is a group of 10, and then a whole bed of flowers is a group of 100, and it visually shows them this as they're working through the problems. And so ST's been a staple here, and we all use it. And the goal for all of our teachers is to get through 70–80% of the program by the end of the year before testing.
Have you seen any that transition from iPads to Chromebooks? Has there been any?
Well, just 2 years ago,
kid-wise, I guess.
2.5 years ago, ST had to be done on a desktop. So we did that in our lab, and then Chromebooks were able to use it. Well, they just upgraded 2 years ago to the Touch GG, so now it works equally on iPads. One of the districts that was a forerunner in it was Weaver School over in Los Alamitos, and they have all iPads. They don't have any Chromebooks. They do all iPads, and they do testing on iPads, everything. I don't know how they do testing just on iPads, but they've been doing this for a long time. They were kind of the forerunner, and they kind of showed us, hey, get this GG program. You'll really enjoy it. And so that's been for several years. For 4 years, they've been on GG. So the idea is they're supposed to do 45 minutes twice a week. But the reality is now our kids are doing probably 45 minutes twice a week as a whole class, and then during rotations within the classes, they're doing at least 20 minutes of GG on each of the rotations. So you'll see that when we go through the classrooms. So that's been the growth. As far as devices, we pretty much have it nailed down to K2 is iPads, 3.5 is Chromebooks. Chromebooks, the advantage, of course, is being able to file share. We have a lot of students doing editing of projects. They work on a poem and they share it with their partner, and they edit each other's work, and you can see the editing in real time through Google Docs. And so that's been really nice to see that blossom. And we're all, we say we're all learning together. It's every day I learn something new. Every day our teachers learn something new because the kids will show them. So it's really hard when teachers come to us and say, I want to go to training for technology, because I've done online training, I've done workshops, and a lot of it is show me a ton of apps, but really you got to just learn by doing and learning by your partners and seeing what works. And so that's been the best thing, is just everybody teaching each other, either by visiting other schools or visiting each other's classrooms. And we've been doing a lot of site visits through our DI model. So it's been a nice kickoff to having to do DI, but then also have this technology to support it. So that's where we are now. Today, I'm going to take you in at 9:30 to some classes that are doing, one class is where all the kids are doing a lot of this pure editing. They'll probably want to talk about it and share what they're doing, because every day I go in there, it's something different. So I can't specifically tell you what you're going to see today. You'll see a lot of different things, but you will see GG everywhere. So when you see kids working, first grade is a good model I want you to see, because they have, every first grade classroom is exactly the same. They have a teaching table, they have removed half their desks, so they have a carpet square, kind of like kindergartners, and then they have a small table that's got the legs pulled off, and that's the technology table where all the kids are there working on their iPads. So they're doing AR tests, they're doing language programs, they're doing GG math, they're doing all types of programs on their iPads. And then there's usually a independent working table or a silent reading table working in one rotation. So my first grade is probably the most consistent grade level. When every day I go in there, they're all doing the same thing at the same time, and even the classrooms look the same, so it'll be a good model for you to see. And then we'll be going to a third grade classroom where all the kids have Chromebooks, and they were our first pilot class last year to have Chromebooks for the whole year. So just last year we only had 2 classes that had Chromebooks for the whole year, and now just this year we're now 2 to 1. And so they're a little further along with some Google programs and using Google Slides and Google Presentation. And then you'll see a fourth grade classroom that's very unorthodox. There are no desks, there are no chairs in the room. She uses those round exercise balls. And she's kind of my out there thinker, gate teacher who really does things differently in the classroom. So they're going to be all in technology, so we'll be in there to see what they're doing. And then my 5th grade classroom is probably the most advanced as far as what they're doing with Google Docs. So when we get back, you'll probably have many questions you can ask me at that time, because I don't know exactly what we're going to see today, but you'll see a lot of different types of programs. As far as Chromebooks, we were just talking briefly the evolution of Chromebooks. We started out with Samsung, or no, Acer, the Acer ones, the old Acer ones that had connection issues, and then the Samsung ones are those small gray ones. The problem with those is the keypads give out and they don't work any longer as far as pushing it. You literally have to pick it up and squeeze it to make it work. So now we have the HPs, which are the white ones. They look very similar to a iMac or Apple product. It's white, it's large, it's much more sturdy. So that's the HP version you'll see in a lot of the classrooms. We still have our standing computer lab, which is used by our lower primary, and those have Mac Minis, which I like to say Mac lasts forever. We've had those for before I even started here, and they still work just as well. So, but I can see that lab probably not being used much longer, because they're doing so much more in their classrooms and sharing their computers between the two of them that they're rarely having to go to the lab. So probably see the death of the lab coming up pretty soon, but it's a nice resource to have, and we've come a long ways in just 4 years. I've been fortunate because of the finances, which definitely could not have happened at other schools as fast. So we've been able to kind of push forward. I laugh at the FBSD BYOD, but that was just last year that we didn't have enough devices, so we were allowing students to bring their own, whether it was a Chromebook, an iPhone, with iPods, and teachers were having them do things on there, which is a good way to kind of start the ball rolling. So now parents are funding devices for their kids at home so they can use them. They're allowing them to bring here at school, which is happening much less because we have so many devices on campus. But I don't think we ever need to get to a 1-to-1 ratio. Maybe we'll be there someday, but we're not going to be using technology every minute of the day. A lot of teachers don't want the kids using it every minute of the day. So I think the 2-to-1 ratio is really what I see as something that's going to be a nice balance as far as devices. If you spend the money on 1-to-1 ratio, and then all those devices change and become outdated, you just spend a lot of money. So it's almost better to kind of roll things in slowly, one at a time. So any questions before we head to the classrooms?
Do you have English learners here in your school?
We do. We have about 12%
Okay.
are English, but they're all advanced, intermediate to advanced level. We only have a couple beginners, and the beginners we get usually have aid support. And then our special education is about 10%. So we have 2 classes that are high functioning autistic. So there's a K2 class, high functioning autistic, and then there's a 3-5 class. So they're called our Explorer classes. And then we of course have RSP support for all the grade levels. Any other questions?